It's not as though there's a certain kind of God presented in the systematics approach, a certain kind of God presented in the biblical theological approach.
Right.
For Voss, it's the same God, the same attributes viewed in different relations. And this one, I think, is very, very useful. And it drives us, Camden, I think the thing that this does, it drives us to worship.
Oh, it ought
You
to.
know, yeah, yeah.
Well, and this fights against, in many respects, that Marcionite notion that we have a different type of God in the Old Testament. In fact, we have a different God, according to his conception, the God of wrath and anger and justice, and then a God of love, compassion, etc. in the New Testament. But here in Voss's conception, they sweetly comply. They hold together. We don't have different gods, and neither do we have a God who is changing. Nevertheless, the relation between God and creation can change because that which is occurring in creation is changing. And so we can have both at the same time without compromising the Lord or somehow requiring him to change himself or adopt or assume new properties. God always can be both the God of goodness and grace as well as a God of righteousness and wrath, because all of those descriptors or attributes are expressions of his eternal and immutable being.
Yeah, and right on that point, Camden, that's so well said, by the way. Right on that point, Voss reminds us then that holiness here, and this is hard to express, but holiness is not simply an attribute thought of in isolation, but holiness is something that he says is, quote, I believe this is over on page 246. We're still moving toward 247. Is coextensive and applicable to everything that characterizes God. And that means it characterizes God in himself. It characterizes God in his revelation. And in that sense, um, if you're thinking about the idea of God's holiness in relation to his creation, you can never become, to use Voss's language, you can never attain vulgar familiarity with God, like you've contained him or exhausted him or understood his fullness. Uh, this is something I think is really important for us to remember, and it suffuses the holiness of God, suffuses the relation between the creator and the creature with this sense of mystery and reverence and awe, the only proper response of which is worship, a worship of whether angel or sinner redeemed, a worship that grows out of an overwhelming awe of that character that is revealed in a holy God, as Voss is conceiving it.